All right.
Let's get into the Roto-World player news. Listen, there's a lot of player news as we get towards the latter half of the week here. For all your Roto-World player news, go to NBCSports.com. And here are the injuries we're tracking right now. Good news on Joe Burrow. His status practice in full. Same with Anthony Richardson, who appears to be heading out of concussion protocol.
Joe Burrow's going to have himself a week, just so you know.
This is the week?
This is the week.
All right, I like it. Jalen Waddle practiced in full as well. He was another guy dealing with concussion protocol. Gus Edwards, another guy with a head injury. He practiced in full. We got 3 limiteds. Austin Eckler, Saquon Barkley, James Conner. Barry, that feels like good news.
That's
limited for Eckler
and
Saquon.
Certainly not Conner. You don't like showing him showing up on the injury report, especially with the Niners up next. But the fact that Eckler and Barkley was supposed to be week to week to week, and the fact that he's out there with a high ankle, that's fantastic. There's a chance that we see Saquon Barkley this weekend and Austin Eckler, especially given that the Chargers have the bye next week. There was some thought that Eckler might just, take it easy this week, get through the bye, and then come back 100%. Not out of the woods yet, but just the fact that on a Wednesday he was out there in pads and helmet and practice on a limited basis, I think is a great sign for a friend of the show and fantasy life investor, Austin Eckler.
Jay, on the not-so-good news, Jimmy G, he's in concussion protocol. He is not practicing. Zay Jones dealing with the knee. He's not practicing. Deebo Samuel, it's not just the ribs. He's dealing with a knee injury as well. He did not practice to start the week.
Yeah, to me, I think Garoppolo's largely as expected. Zay Jones also, that was reported earlier, he's not expected to play. Deebo Samuel, that's the kind of concerning one because he took a heavy hit to his ribs. And then, by the way, came immediately back in and Kyle Shanahan lined him up at running back immediately after it seemed like he might have broken a rib. But Deebo, also the knee, he's just the guy who constantly pops up on injury reports. And with the game against Arizona as 2 touchdown favorites, maybe they let him rest.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how that tracks. Although, I think that they don't want to take it, lightly. I mean, Arizona's tough. Yep. Arizona's tough, but again, it's why I mentioned yesterday, I like the Cardinals plus 14 in that game. And I also think that, Deebo being a veteran, you can certainly see him. He's one of those guys that doesn't need to practice to play, I don't think.
Get him some rest. And Ayuk's on his way back as well, so some good news for the Niners there. How about Thursday Night Football's injuries that we're keeping an eye on? Christian Watson, who has said he expects to play with the hamstring injury, is questionable. Same for Aaron Jones, questionable. David Montgomery with the thigh contusion is questionable. NFL Network's Tom Pelissero reports Watson, Jones, and Montgomery are all expected to play here, guys. Great news for them. We've kind of been building that way towards the week.
Pitch count for Christian Watson, though.
Yes.
His receiving prop's only 36.5, so wouldn't
and maybe Aaron Jones?
I have him at wide receiver. I have him just on Watson real quickly. We talked about this yesterday. If you're desperate, go ahead. And he's always, got the ability to get deep for one. But, that's one of those that I kind of want to see it before I'm ready to put him right back in my lineup. I'm at wide receiver 38. Remember, 60% of his fantasy points last year came in 4 games. He was really kind of a boom or bust player. And first game back, no teams on a bye. There are no teams on a bye. I'd rather just, again, be cautious if I can be. You may not have the opportunity. But I think both Jones and Montgomery, if they're active for the game, they're both top 20 plays this week. More RB2 than RB1s. But I think you got to put them right back there, especially Aaron Jones, Jay, because the Packers have gotten absolutely nothing out of A.J. Dillon the last couple of weeks.
Yep, Aaron Jones goes straight back into lineups as well. If you're betting on this game, we'll talk about the game in greater depth later, but Christian Watson, he's a guy that you want to ride the upside. He's plus 500 to get 75 plus receiving yards. He's someone I always like when guys come back from injury on the Thursday, because it usually means they're probably okay for the Sunday, and they've just got a few extra days rest, and he will be allegedly on a snap count, but he's a guy who doesn't need that many snaps to make an impact. So he's someone who I think his average outcome isn't great, but he could also go for 80 yards pretty easily, just the type of player that he is.
I have Montgomery at running back 16. I have Aaron Jones at running back 18. Both of them, obviously, top 20 plays. Remember, Jones was the number 1 running back in fantasy in week 1, had that monster game before leaving late in the game with a hammy injury. Injury.
Very profitable one.
Yeah, I would like to be in the hammy industry. I don't have any hammies is one of the concerns for me. Dave Montgomery, by the way, double-digit fantasy points in every game this season. When they get close, they're going to give it to him. Again, they got nothing out of Craig Reynolds. And even with Montgomery out, they still didn't give a massive workload to Jahmyr Gibbs. I think they're excited to get D. Monty back as well. Also, I just want to point out, as we talk about tonight's game real quickly, we'll talk about this later in the show.
We'll have some best bets.
Yeah, we'll have some best bets. You want me to do that later, Steven? Get in my ear. You want to talk about the best bets later? We ready?
Doing the show on the show.
What? We're good now or no?
Fire away.
Okay. All right. So first off, I just want to point out right now, this is usually who drinks for free in the happy hour today? And normally it is somebody that has done something, but I'm calling my shot. Luke Musgrave drinks free at the happy hour, and you're like, what's Luke Musgrave done? Tonight is Luke Musgrave night. Tonight, I would recommend going out and picking up Luke Musgrave, because after this game, you're not going to be able to, or there'll be a rush to the waiver wire. I've said all preseason, I've said all along, Luke Musgrave's going to be a thing this year, right? I was right about Tank Dell. Let's see. I was right about Chris McCaffrey. I said he was going to be a thing this year. He's turned out
from downtown.
You're right about Damian Pierce.
Right?
Yep. Allen Robinson last year. Yep.
No. But listen. Devon Achane. We gave him the preseason. We talked about. We legitimately talked about Puka Nacua in the preseason, that he was going to be a thing, and that Tank Dell would be a thing, and Luke Musgrave. I have legitimately
about 60%.
I mean,
we're good.
Stop.
That's great.
That's great. Everyone should be thrilled. It was very profitable. I'll tell you a story, by the way, real quickly. This is real. No, listen, and I've been doing this for 1,000 years, as you guys know. I'm older than Methuselah, but so I've made a billion calls.
I don't know who that is.
No, right. You don't know who Methuselah is? You don't know that reference?
No. So that one right by me.
I'm as old as dirt. How about that?
That's kind of what I figured you were implying.
Yeah, fair enough. But
that was the laughter.
Anyway, God, we're all off track. All right, hang on. Here's where we're going. Real quickly, though. So my love-hate today. My love-hate today is fantasy atonement. This past Monday was Yom Kippur, the Jewish day of it's the Day of Atonement. I am Jewish myself. I'm not making light of the high holidays for the Jewish people. Again, I'm a Jew, but I like the idea of it, which is that what you do is and I explain the whole thing, but the idea is that for one day a year you atone to God, and you ask for forgiveness of your sins, and
do you fast?
You make repentance, yes, and so the whole thing. But so my point is, I like that idea, one day a year, where you just sort of say, like, okay, here's my bad, here's everything I did wrong, can I please get a pass here, and I apologize for it. So writing the column is just a bunch of people that need to atone for stuff, and you can imagine some of them. But I was like, I need to atone for something. And so last year I did this column. I've done it every year. It's this fantasy atonement. And last year was Allen Robinson. I was like, my bad. And I got to be honest with you, it took me a while to find one this year. It's been a pretty good year so far.
I didn't know where that was going.
I'm saying I have made a billion calls in my life.
I wasn't right.
And I've gotten many. But I'm going to tell you, I finally found something. I finally found a call that I felt pretty bad about, which is that I had Mike Evans on the preseason hate list, and obviously he's wide receiver 5 through 3 weeks, so that was a mistake, right? That was a bad one, and I apologize. I've atoned for that. But I'm just telling you, it took a while. There wasn't one glaring one where you're like, dude, Mike Vick, really? I'm just telling you, so far it's been a pretty good year, Mr.
Methuselah. I still can't get over Methuselah. Do you reckon when God's scrolling through the atonements and there's all these criminals, and then Matthew Berry and Mike Evans on the hate list?
Yeah.
No good.
No good.
That was your McGregor. I'd like to apologize
to
absolutely nobody moment, just so you know that.
Yeah, good. Anyway, back to this. Luke, we're off the rails, but whatever. I was up late writing love-hate. I'm all punch drunk. Luke Musgrave drinks free because of what he's going to do tonight. Your last chance to get Luke Musgrave is right now, up until kickoff, because then, once again, just like with Damian Pierce, not Damian Pierce, just like Tank Dell, Devon Achane, all these guys, Puka Nacua, you're not going to be able to get them. I'm calling my shot here. Okay. If we were on pregame, I'd be one of my shot for shots.
A lot of shots today. Luke Musgrave goes off. Taylor Swift and Kendrick Lamar on the set of fantasy football pregame, singing Bad Blood. It's all happening.
We've got a lot of stuff there. And by the way, hey Steven, do you have my lineup? Do you have that ready yet? Okay, here we go. So here's my problem, guys. Here's my problem. So here's my team in my undefeated first place 3-0 team in our show league. And it's a 12-team league, PPR, it's a 2-quarterback league, right? And so I can't figure out how to get Luke Musgrave into my lineup. You see him there on my bench, because I got Jerome Ford before the rush. I got Tank Dell before the rush. I have Raheem Mostert. Of course, I have my ride or die Amon-Ra. I have Jordan Addison. I have CeeDee Lamb's my buddy Eights. He's in there. Where do I put Luke Musgrave in? And then, of course, my tight end is Hawkinson, who's awesome. But, I know he's going to go off, Connor. But I can't. My team's so good, I can't find a spot. Where am I putting?
Stash and trade him.
This is what I'm doing. I have him right there. Again.
Personally,
so, yeah.
I hate the audacity that you've got Sam Howell in the quarterback spot and Jalen Hurts in the Superflex. I can't have that.
That's so on brand. It's unbelievable.
That is left over from last week when Sam Howell played on Sunday and Jalen Hurts played on Monday. And so the idea is you always play the earlier guy in the position because if, what happens if suddenly Monday morning, Jalen Hurts wakes up and he's sick or something like that, and then you use Sam Howell in the flex. So obviously I have Jalen Hurts, last year's ride or die. You're welcome, another great call. People are saying that I'm on the hottest streak of all time. I'm not saying it. Other people are saying.
Methuselah saying that? That's all I want to know.
Methuselah is dead.
Whoever that is.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.